You are listening to the Barry Long audio Intelligence and Sensation, Session 4 of 12 from his 9-day event on the Gold Coast, March 2000. For more information, visit barrylong.org.
Are you truly here? Please, will you be serious according to my definition of what it is to be serious, please? And check it in your own experience. To be serious is to be immediately and continuously attentive. To be listening in your own experience. Not in some second-hand experience, which is all that you've read and heard before. You must listen new. Otherwise you're old, and I cannot communicate to you because you don't want me to, and I can't penetrate the old in you. So please, be new, be now, be attentive, and listen in your own experience, because I may say something that's not the truth, and that's intolerable to the truth, and you've got to keep checking everything in your own experience. For only what is in your experience is in the truth for you. Everything else is imagination and hoping and wishing, except when I speak to you, there is something that may not be in your immediate experience, but it will have the ring of truth in it, the sound of truth. And you will know that by listening with your whole body, which is what it is to listen with your own experience, your whole body, and not just to listen with your silly, conditioned, judgmental and selective mind. The mind is the only burden on man and woman. Nothing else. Nothing else is the burden but the mind, which comes out of the emotions. Now, immediacy is a sure sign of reality. So when I ask you to be here immediately, you are as close to consciousness as you can be when you are immediate. So I want to speak again about the only two things in your entire existence which are real. Because nothing else in your existence is real. Your mother and father are not real. Your children are not real. Your job is not real. Your lover is not real. Your house and nothing that you possess, your car, nothing is real in this existence. But I show you what is real in this existence, which is the rarest thing that can ever be done for you. That's why I ask you to be as attentive, as serious as you can be. Because it is not easy to hear what is new, what is immediate, and what is real. And it's certainly not easy to apply that. So I've dismissed the whole of existence as being unreal. Nothing is worthwhile except the whole of existence is worthwhile. The whole of it. Not what you're doing, not what you've built, not your bank account. Nothing, it's all partial. But the whole of existence has an integrity which is beyond our comprehension. Not the little parts, they just contribute to the whole. But we seem to live as though it was real what we are doing, what we're building, But it is a relative reality, your daily living life and mine. It's only a relative reality in relation to sense perception. It's not real because it's going to disappear, and every person that you love, including your own body, is going to die. And anything that dies can't be real. Now, there is a thing called a pure intelligence. It is very, very rare on this planet. That's why it's called pure intelligence and not just intelligence. Because intelligence, as I've said, is what everybody is using out there in the university, and all the professors, and all the scientific gentlemen, and all the computer operators, and programmers, and whatever they call it. They're all intelligent, but they're not pure intelligence. So everything that they do will pass away. Nothing will continue the same. Even as the scientists have discovered, they were so sure. They were so sure, although I've been telling them differently for 20 years, they were so sure that there was nothing could exceed the speed of light. Well, now I hear that something has happened where they think that something might be able to go faster than the speed of light, which just shows how slow they are. Because my consciousness is faster than the speed of light, and so is the consciousness of the realized truth of God. That's why it's so rare too. And that's intelligence, pure intelligence, not just intelligence that understands and that learns. So there's pure intelligence. Then there is pure sensation. Now, pure sensation must not be confused with false sensation. I'll describe the difference to you. All emotions, all feelings are false sensation. They move in a certain way, emotions and feelings. They're moving in a certain way. And they can give the impression that they are sensation. And you could think or surmise that when you are practicing this, of putting your pure intelligence on sensation, you could draw the conclusion that you're in that state when you are focusing on your emotions, your feelings, because they're a false sensation. There is no truth in any feeling that you have or ever will have. Now, that could be quite straightforward, couldn't it, if you could only prove the truth of that in your own experience. Every error that you've ever made has been due to you acting off your feelings. And every error you will ever make again will be because you're acting off your feelings instead of the fact and the truth. So, feelings and emotions can give the appearance of being true or pure sensation, and they are just the opposite. Now, it is my job to demonstrate to you what pure sensation is. For there's only the two realities in your entire existence. I've wiped out everything else because it all dies and passes away. But these two things will never, ever die or pass away. They might disappear in what is called sleep, but they have not passed away. It's just that you can't register them anymore because you're not there anymore. You've gone into another place where you can't register as you can here. And they are the two realities in your existence. The only things that are true is your pure intelligence, which doesn't have any thought in it whatever. Now you are looking at the speaker. Now it is pure intelligence to be able to look at the speaker without interpreting what the speaker's saying. But the usual error is to interpret what I'm saying through your conditioning or through your mind or through your emotions. As a result of most of the humanity doing that, it then results in a monitor inside your head, inside your body, that surprisingly has conversations with you and you have conversations with it. It tells you, well, that's good, oh, that's not good, or it tells you, yes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It tells you everything that's unnecessary because it's your body that's doing it, and this little Sir Echo is telling you what your body's doing and is giving an opinion because you have entertained it instead of being pure intelligence. So you get the echo of existence through your memory and this conversation, this monitor, this phony little Sir Echo that you get inside your head to comment on it when you're making love. When you're doing anything, it will comment and you will think it's all right. But it's not all right. It's not all right. It brings despair because there's two of you in the one body. One that's unintelligent, which is little Sir Echo, and the other one which is your struggling intelligence, which this little Sir Echo is using. And so you're not pure intelligence. And that's the whole human race. This happens to the whole human race. It just doesn't happen to you or the person next to you. Every 6 billion of them have the conversation going on inside their head because they're unintelligent. Well, when you're intelligent, you don't have conversations going on inside your head. Are you hearing me? All I'm doing is endeavouring to describe to you the value of becoming intelligent. If you went out into the university and said what I'm just saying, there'd probably be great guffaws and protests, because they all think they're intelligent. But it's a false intelligence. It's a mental intelligence. It's a psychological intelligence. It's not real and it's not true. For pure intelligence never moves. And we know what intelligence, the other intelligence, does. It's always thinking, always working things out. Always striving, like the professors out there, always professing, but never knowing anything. No knowledge, all professing to know. And the students, because the professors don't know, the students will never know. Only when the master knows and doesn't profess to know can he help his students. Are you getting the picture, please? Because I'm talking about the whole of humanity. And I'm endeavouring to help you to be different to the normal condition of humanity so that you can become natural, for it is natural to be pure intelligence, to have pure intelligence. That is the natural state of man and woman. But it has become sullied by emotions, by screaming fits, by anger, by greed, by opinions, terrible opinions. Everybody's got an opinion about everything, and no opinion is worth that. As no feeling is worth that, and no emotion is worth that, because that's all false. So that's where we are. That's why I want you still as you can be and as serious as you can be in the sense of being fully attentive, Because I can penetrate you, I can change you deep down inside of you, underneath your conditioning, if you are only willing to be changed, to be new. That's all I need you to do, is to be new. And I penetrate you. I go into the very depths of your psyche, under your conditioning, into your subconscious, and change it and turn it all around. And you mightn't get the effects for several days or several weeks, but sooner or later I will arise in you, and you will have the knowledge of something. So pure sensation has got lost to the human race. If I went out there into the university and said this, I'd say, well, what's pure sensation? Tell me. They wouldn't know what I was talking about. If I went down into the main street, no one would know what I was talking about. Because you have to do it. You have to be it to know it. You can't learn it from a book. Although people learn everything from books and tapes and then mouth it as their own. But it doesn't mean anything. It has to be in your experience. And that's what we do here. Endeavouring to make the living truth true in your experience. So I got rid of all the intelligence of all the people on earth. Although everybody has this fundamental potential inside of them to be really intelligent. And we're practicing that. But I endeavour to communicate to you what it is first. That's what words are for. Words have a certain degree of communication to the mind that keeps the mind still. As long as the description is round enough and comprehensive enough and profound enough so that the mind can't try to select certain things to ask questions about. But I have the power to describe things in utter and complete detail, comprehensively, so that I leave the mind little area in which to be partial and ask its questions. But I understand that sometimes I might not do it thoroughly enough for everybody, and so I invite you to ask questions. So this communication by word, verbal communication, such as no one's yet invented a better phrase than I love you. They're pretty simple words, and it's a pretty simple state. And it comes from a pure state, those words. But because we've been mouthing computer jargon, and the jargon of therapists, and the jargon of psychiatrists, and the jargon of psychologists, we've been mouthing that as our own for so long that our words have very little power, very little meaning in them. So people say all day, I love you. Well, I don't believe anyone when they say they love me. I don't believe anyone, and I don't believe anything. What I go by is the demonstration in the behaviour, in the activity, and not just in 5 minutes, because the whole mind is a liar and a cheat and a mouther of things it's heard and learnt which it thinks is clever, and it can hide behind those words when there is no substance in them, no power in them. And so we hear, I love you everywhere, without any real meaning. That's not to say that when people do say from the depths of them, I love you, that it doesn't have meaning. Of course it does. It's the most powerful phrase on the earth. No other phrase is more powerful. Because you could be speaking to God, couldn't you? I love you. What more can you say about the other? that has no objectification, that you can't describe. You just say, I love you, or I love it. And I don't know what I love, and I don't know what you are, and I don't know even whether you are. I don't know that either. I don't know anything about you except I love you. Because I'm talking about the love of God, the love of the other, the love of the unknown, the love of the incomprehensible. That's what I'm talking about. And that is possible with pure intelligence, to love that, to not only love it, but by loving it, to be able to perceive it when it has no objectification whatever. There is no knowing in it. You can't know it, but you can love it. And love is the finest and most beautiful communication that is possible on this earth. But that's at a level underneath words, isn't it? That communication, it comes from a depth inside the psyche. It has a reality. It makes a reality in the words. Like my words have a reality because it comes from the depths of my love of God, my love of life, my love of truth. So what I say is substantive, because I live it. And if you don't live it, it's not true. So that's what I'm endeavouring to impart to you. What is your right? This is your natural right, is to be pure intelligence. Your natural right is to be able to perceive in the sense of no objectification, no knowing the other, the it, the thing that never dies, the foreverness, the eternalness, the wonder, the unimaginable. Fancy loving something that's unimaginable. You can't objectify something that's unimaginable, because if you can imagine it, then it's an object. Now, pure intelligence is to love that. And that's your natural state, for you came out of that. And you came into existence. And what is existence? Existence is a body. Your body. And your body is the center of existence. The body, listening to these words, is the utter and complete center of this existence. Because when your body is not here, means when you go to sleep, neither is existence. And when you are awake or wake, existence appears, because you are the center of it. You are essential to existence. But you'd rather use your mind to imagine things outside your body. And so you start to love the false. You start to love what you imagine. You start to love what's not the truth, what you're conditioning, what some master said, or Jesus, or some stupid thing like Jesus. I mean, Jesus is stupid because it's an object. Jesus, if there was anything in him that the church awards to that man, then it wasn't Jesus. It was what was in the man was God. The unknowable, the indescribable, the unbelievable. That's what was in the man. And that's what's in any man or any woman who is of truth or of love or of rightness or of all that is good and beautiful. Is only God being God. In other words, each one of you, including the speaker, is God being God. There's none other. There is none other. And it is so magnificent that it is able to appear in all the people that walk past, in all the cars, and everything that appears has got the God running through it. It's God being God. Everything is God being God. But I'm talking about human beings, right? So you are God being God, pretending to be something else. That's what you are. You're pretending to be yourself. And yourself is a pain in the neck. It's a pain in the neck to you. It's a pain in the neck to the people that you love. It's a pain in the neck to your parents. It's a pain in the neck to everybody. That's what yourself is. And you treasure it as though it was some gem that you were. When the only gem in you is the God in you. The incomprehensible, the unknowable. But that which you can be. But you can't know it. But you can be it. As you shed your attachment to yourself, the troublemaker, the spoiler of this existence. The obstinate one. The one who knows everything. The one who knows what he or she is doing. That one I'm talking about. Otherwise, that's what you are. You're not God being God at all. But that's your potential of God being God. That's your potential. The unnameable one. That's what you are. But while you hold on to yourself like some holy crucifix, you can't find God. While you hold on to your beliefs, while you put on your yellow robes, while you've got a master, you can't find it because you're conceptualizing everything that the master says you conceptualize. You can't help it because the brain conceptualizes everything. And that's not intelligent to conceptualize. Okay, if you've got to go in there and study to be a professor or something, then you've got to conceptualize indeed. And there's a world of conceptualization here, which is called learning. But what we're here for is not to learn. We are here to unlearn, to stop learning, to give up every single thing I ever learned, every single thing I ever believed in, to give it up now. That's intelligent, pure intelligence. To be innocent. Do you know what it is to be innocent? We got to say, innocent little children. For God's sake, the little children are not innocent. They've got a whole spring of experience needed inside of them, and they're going to cause dreadful unhappiness to themselves and all the people that love them. They're not innocent. Their bodies are. But there's something inside them, isn't there, that needs the experience. And that's not innocent. You can only become innocent when you have experienced enough. And when you're prepared to give up the burden of being attached to all your experience and all your opinions. That's what it is to be innocent. I am innocent. Of course I'm innocent. How could I talk about innocent if I wasn't innocent? The next time you're talking to someone who says they're innocent, say, well, then you must be innocent. Then you must have no burden. Your life must be absolutely perfect in every respect, particularly your love life. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. Innocence is a remarkable thing because it's the closest thing to God. And then we have a pure heart. Well, there's nothing like a pure heart. It is a most beautiful thing to have a pure heart. Do you think I'm being too romantic here? Do you think I'm being too abstract? Or is your intelligence up to listening to me? What is it to have a pure heart? These words are not just inventions. They've been handed down from people since time immemorial. The pure of heart shall see God. What is it to be pure of heart? For God's sake, will anyone tell us? Instead of these stupid churchianity guys, Christianities. What is it to be pure of heart?
Your intention matches your action.
When your thinking matches your actions?
Your intention.
When your intentions matches your actions? No, that might be true at that level. But the pure of heart is to have your heart broken and not to blame, accuse, or complain about anyone or anything in your life, and not to hold on to it. That's what it is to be pure of heart. No longer to blame, accuse, or complain about your life. But your heart has to be broken. So many hearts have been broken and nothing gained from it. Nothing. How many women here have had their hearts broken? How many men here have had their hearts broken, but particularly women, and nothing gained? Well, I know that some of you have gained much, right? But I'm endeavouring to make the point. Only a broken heart makes a pure heart. Otherwise, you're going to really believe in yourself. There's one thing about a broken heart, if you're really there when it breaks, is you say, I'm nothing. I'm finished. There's nothing true about me whatever. I have no hope. I've got nothing. Because everything, it's like a punctured tyre. Your selfish tyre blowing up nice and high and big while things are good. And when the desperate broken heart comes, when the terrible knife goes into the heart and rips you open, you're punctured and you deflate just like a balloon or a tyre. And you're nothing. And you're finished. And you're desolate. And there's no future and there's no past. In that moment, there is the opportunity to see the truth. But how many see it? Because of our conditioning. People say, oh, don't worry, love. Don't worry. You'll find someone else. Don't worry, darling. He's died, but he's never forgotten. Don't worry, darling. And they're patting you on the bloody shoulder and they're being sympathetic when you don't want sympathy. You want the truth. Do you think that a broken heart is made up by something? Or do you think it might be God that breaks your heart to try to get you to be true, to come home to me, to come back to me, the living truth that is God? What do you think it's about? No good talking to humanity. I can talk to you, though. What do you think a broken heart's about? What do you think death's about? What do you think pain and suffering's about? Only created by God to bring us home so that we will deflate and give up our own selfish, willful ways. You getting the message? Or do I sound like some Christian evangelist? For God's sake, save me from that. I speak from the place of the broken heart. My heart is broken, always broken. But I have no pain anymore because I've released the pain. I've released the accusations of anyone else for my life. I've got rid of the blaming. I've got rid of complaining. It is my life. Do you understand? It is my life. I'm responsible for the light shining on me. And if they give me a headache, I'm responsible for it. I'm responsible for every single moment of it. Now, it's not to be a human being is not to be responsible. You know that. Oh, you're responsible for now, but what about over here? Oh, no, you can't be responsible for a whole life. Well, you've got to be responsible for your whole life. No good telling me what somebody's doing to you. You are doing it in a very, very profound way. So we mustn't make that sort of statement in a trite way. We must realize the profundity of what karma is, our own past, chasing us all the time. Our own ignorance chasing us and taking new form to stand in front of us as circumstances and torment us. For what we have not attended to will have to appear again in our life. That is the truth. And so karma is another word used. I only use it because I don't use these Eastern terms, but I can't get a better one word than, what it is that what you have not faced before appearing in different forms in what is the so-called future is circumstances. Well, having defined it, I can use the word karma because we're so stupid in the West. We're so utterly stupid. All we're concerned about is learning and nuts and bolts and sending things up into space and all that, but no truth. So we don't have any word for a thing like karma, but it gets trotted out, doesn't it? All the Eastern masters, all the Eastern stuff, karma, karma. Nobody tells you what it is. Because if you've got a problem now, if you've got a problem this very moment in your life, that's your karma. That's what you have not faced before, and that's what has to be faced now. And what does facing it mean? Facing it means face it, courageously as you can, only as you can. And no blaming another person for what has happened to you. No accusing someone else for doing it to you. And no complaining about your life. How about that? What is that then? That takes another element which goes into the depths of you, which is related to the God in you, which is your knowledge of God. And that changes karma. For karma is the past. And what I'm talking about in dealing and not accusing, blaming or complaining, that's a present. And the present can dissolve the past. As long as I am in it and not blaming some other thing for what I have done and now must face. Now I speak to you like this because somebody's got to tell you the truth somewhere, sometime, rather than wrapping it up in nice little packages, sugary little bits and fancy little ways of speaking to you, saving you from the dreadful truth by prettying it up. Well, I don't save you from the truth. This is what you are. And you've got to see yourself, and you've got to see your reality. Your reality is not complaining or blaming or accusing. That's your reality. But you can't stop doing it until you start to find something real in you. So what are we going to do with our partner, which is the best place of all to practice it, is it not? There's the place, but we forget about that. Oh, I don't blame or complain out here, but what about your partner? Are you still arguing? The two of you, are you still arguing? Eh? If I asked every one of you, one after the other, the couples, you still have an argument? Well, then if you still have an argument, then you're complaining, aren't you? You're accusing and you're blaming. Well, how dare you have an argument, the two of you who say you love one another? How dare you? What sort of people are you who say you love each other and then argue? It's only your ignorance. Because when you argue, one of you takes a position. And in truth, there are no positions. You can't have a position and be innocent or pure of heart. You have to be absent. And so whenever two people argue, one takes a position and it won't be long before the other one takes a position, because you set up a polarity, which is the human brain. Always sets up polarities, this against that. And do you still discuss? Do you still discuss in your partnership? Do you have a nice little discussion? Do you still do that? Well, all discussions lead to ignorance. All discussions are ignorance. If you've got to say anything to your partner, why don't you speak the truth? I love you. I love being with you. I love you. You were beautiful. You were sweet. I love kissing you. I love my arm around you. I love being with you. I love holding your hand. What else have you got to say, for Christ's sake? What else are you going to say to somebody you love? Eh? What are you going to say to God? If you truly love God, what are you going to say? Oh, forgive me for my sins. Oh, forgive me for this, all this Christian bullshit. You're going to say, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Always ask and always wanting to get. Instead of saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't care about anything else. I just love you. What do you think the love of God is? Asking for forgiveness? My God, you know what? If we were asking for forgiveness, the whole human race would be down on their face all day long saying, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Every single one of us. But there's nothing to forgive. You have to pay for what you've done. And it will appear to you in your circumstances, which it's doing this very day in the circumstances of your life. So now let's get back to the two realities in your life in which nothing else is real. You have this God-given pure intelligence which never ever moves as thought. Did you hear me? The mind is not intelligent because the mind is always moving. The emotions are not intelligent because they're always moving. But pure intelligence, which is each one of you has, never moves. And pure sensation, the other reality, is the very foundation of your physical body. And as I've said, your physical body is the center of the universe. Yours, not the person next to you, yours. You are the center of the universe. And just inside your body is the source of your body, the actual source of it, which is pure sensation. For your body is not a body at all. You can lose your body, but you cannot lose your pure sensation, out of which the body springs. It's like the plant springs out of a seed. Only the seed in you is always pure sensation. Your body comes out of that. And that's always there. So now let's have a look at it. Keep your eyes open, please, and I want you to do this exercise while your eyes are open. You can feel the pure sensation in your hands. It's always there and will never ever leave you. It's in your feet. In your chest. In your arms. The whole body within is pure sensation. And eventually, as we become intelligent enough, the body starts to disappear, the external body starts to disappear, and we can focus on the pure sensation out of which the body appears. But it requires, you must have pure intelligence on it, or you won't be able to do it. Your mind will start thinking, is this it? Is that it? Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's your stupid mind. It can never do what I'm saying. You have to have pure intelligence, and the mind is some sort of reflected intelligence. Now, can you get your sensation? Is there anybody here who can't sense or register the sensation in their body? In their body. If you mention it to me, I will help you. because I have run into it many times in speaking to people who have so little feeling that they can't register it. Then that is not an accusation and it is not a criticism. Yes, please. Can we have the microphone down here, please? Thank you, Mary. Put your hand up, please, this lady. So stay on the end of the road, please. So we're talking pure sensation.
Yes, it appears to be different in different parts.
Different in different parts is because we are used to having different parts of our body. So the brain breaks it up into different parts, right? Just like you've got an arm which is different to your leg, right? Like your chest is different to your bottom. Now that's the brain makes those things different. And when you come onto pure sensation, there's a sense of it being a difference. But in one sense there is. Because while you're working now. You're working at being intelligent, so please stay with me. Don't drift off and think about something, please. If you can get the sense of the sensation in the small of your back, you will find it tends to have a very finer sense of sensation than perhaps in your hands. Right? Is that what you mean? And that is true. But eventually what I'm endeavouring to impart is that it is possible to bring the whole sensation in which there is no differentiation together.
I have problems with that somehow.
Yes, everybody has problems with that because our whole lives have been about relating to external objects, and especially to this hand, to that leg and that leg, to making an appearance of an external body by the brain. We relate to that. We take it as our reality all the time. And it is the beginning of our reality begins with the body indeed. But it's not real. Because the pure sensation out of which it comes is real. But we have got used to what you do when you get into pure sensation. It is likely that you will, and the body has just about disappeared as a concept, and it's possible that you will suddenly create a limb, a leg. You mightn't create the whole body, but you'll suddenly think of a limb. You'll have a limb. And then you go into this state of pure sensation, and that limb disappears, and then you might have a hand. You see, it's all created by the brain and the mind habitually recreating what has been dismembered. Now, you're getting my words. We are talking right language. These are members, you know. And what we are doing is dismembering the body consciously. Not by trying to get rid of it by focusing on the body, but by focusing on the source of it, we start to dismember the body. And what does the brain do after a while? It remembers the body, right? You get it? And so you get a member appear. You've got a leg, you've got an arm, but you haven't got the whole body. You'll notice it can't give you the whole body because you can never see your whole body anyway. That's all illusion. So we're talking about the illusion of the brain and of appearances. Now, it is very difficult, I know, to get the whole lot down to the sensation. I'm not saying it's not. But that doesn't matter. The fact that it's difficult does not matter. The fact is that you are being told the truth of what it is to enter the state of being. You are doing it by, first of all, seeing that nothing is true where your body is not. Where your body is the only place that is true. that is real in this existence. Now this is a terribly important point. Please, could anyone dispute that, please? I would like you to dispute it if you can. That the only reality is where your body is in your whole existence. Now please, if you have doubts about that, would you put your hand up and let's discover once and for all the truth of it? Because the human brain and the human mind is so stupid and immature that it really thinks that something real is where your body is not. It thinks that, it imagines that, and it is not the truth. But I want anyone who thinks that that is the truth to please, you might have discovered a greater truth. Please, let's have it. Yes, please. Who am I talking to? Just a minute while I get the microphone, please. Now, we're talking intelligence, and this particular question is to anyone who can name that there is something real where my body is not.
Where the body is, do you think on my chair, or do you include also this room? All the other people who are with us, if the reality is where my body is. Your
reality is where your body is.
But my body is on this chair.
Well, yes, okay, but the chair is not your reality, your body is.
But is the reality what's outside of me in this room?
There is no reality outside you in this room.
Okay, thank you.
Only your body is real, and your body or your brain, through the great miracle of existence, all this around you is yourself. Everyone here is a part of yourself. That's the truth. But, of course, we weren't talking to that. Your body is the center of the universe. That means you are responsible for everything. You are, if you could only see it inside, you are responsible for all that is around you, all these people. You have created them from a very, very deep place inside of you. And I'm not going into that now, because what we're doing is entering the body up here, and what we're talking about is down there, where it comes from. No, you are not sitting on a chair, you are a body. If at one level you are sitting on a chair, but your body is your reality. That's got nothing to do with the chair. Do you see that? Well, it might be difficult, but your body, your chair is not a part of your body. Is it?
No.
Right. So your body is the reality. Thank you anyway.
Thank you.
Now, it's a difficult one to get because we're so used to being fed the bullshit that religions feed us and everyone feeds us some way to God, and there is no other way to God but through your own body, which is the center of the universe, and we have to go in there. And we've got to get rid of all the fears and doubts and emotions in the subconscious there, which protects us from the truth. And that's what we're doing here, and why I'm speaking to you like I do. Because who else is going to speak to you like I do? Who else is going to be down there in the very nitty-gritty of it? For I am here. I am here to get down into the very being of you. That's why I'm here, by God's will. And that's what I'm doing. And we've got to start somewhere. And we've got to start intelligently. To be intelligent, somebody's got to convey some intelligence that is pure and not the usual intelligence of the professors and Einstein's theory and the rest of it all. All mind stuff. Like the master that taught me used to call it mind weed. Oh, what a great word that is. And I'm not talking about an Eastern master either. I had one of those rarest things on earth. A Western master who wasn't even a Western master, was just pure, wonderful, pure master. Pure God, master, not out of the East. None of that Eastern stuff, just pure, straight, wonderful, like I am. Yes, please. Yeah. Okay, Andre, isn't it? Good. May I have the microphone, please? Where is it now? Oh, yes.
Yes. When you say body, do you actually mean the sensation within the body? Because when you say, myself creates the whole room and all the people sitting here, I see the truth of that. But then my body, the creation, the exterior appearance, is also a creation of my mind, isn't it?
Yes, well, no, it's a creation of your brain.
Of my brain, yes.
Not your mind. Your mind is not your brain. Your brain is something that's natural to you. It is a natural thing to have a brain in this existence. Right? And then that diversifies into a mind through experience and past. So it is the brain that creates the division, divides us all up and creates individuals, right? Appearances. Whereas in truth there's no such thing. But in this existence it is all polarities, right? And the polarity is that woman and this man. And you won't find anything in humanity really, except where there gets a psychic mix-up, of man and woman. You can tell by their genitals, right? Like they de-sex the children. It's like they sex the chickens, right? Tell you by your genitals, right? Well, what's wrong with that? That's how it's done, isn't it? Just because you get psychically mixed up between your genitals. Well, not everyone's mixed up like that. Just a very few. But that's how you tell whether there's a man or a woman. Naturally. Okay. But things have got mixed up, and I'm not going into that. Because I am responsible for the mix-up. Right? I am responsible for the whole flame and lot of the confusion on earth. But then what am I? I am the human race. Right? I am the one thing that is humanity. And it is because my humanity has got into wishing and hoping and wanting and all the rest of it that it has messed up the psyche, and now we get apparent women in men's bodies and men in women's bodies. And you can see that sometimes in a woman by her appearance, that she grows hair and everything and makes it into a man, and that's where it's real. But where homosexuality doesn't have that sign, it's not real at all. It's not real at all. But it's psychic, and I'm not going into that today. Right. We're going into the body today. So it's a good question, though. There is the brain, which creates the division in existence, which creates yes and no, right, up and down, and all the rest of it, right? It creates all that. It's a divider, and once it divides things like Adam and Eve, it then has to divide Adam and Eve into 4 other things, and then that 4 other things it's got to divide into 8 other things, and like science, dividing all the time, dividing, until you get enormous complication, which is what humanity is.
And my body is part of that.
Your body is a part of that, yes, but the responsibility for it is inside your body.
Exactly. So it's a sensation. The only reality is a sensation.
Only reality is your sensation.
Thank you.
Right. Your body comes out of that. Now, so we've got boxes inside of boxes, right? The first box is the whole universe, the imagined universe. It's only imagined, you know. Because there's only one I in the universe, there's only one life in the universe, and there's only one feeling of life in the universe, and that's in that body. You can't feel the person next to you. You can imagine you can. You just got the feeling of life here, haven't you? So there's no life anywhere else. That's all imagination. Just doesn't exist. There are life forms otherwise. You're in a life form too. But it's only a form of life. There's not a life. No form is life. The life is inside the form, and you're the only one. Unless you want to use your imagination. And everybody uses their imagination, which is the curse of human existence. Imagination. Because it leads to worry. And is worry a good thing? Anybody ever enjoy lying awake there at night saying, I wish I could stop worrying? Is that a good thing? Well, If you keep thinking all day, then you've got to worry at night. Right? Very straightforward. So, inside the body, the first box is the universe. Inside the universe is the first box, which amazingly is my body. And my means the person listening to these words. In my body. Now I must enter this box, in my body. And what do I find that's real in there? We don't want any unreal stuff, please, because everyone's communicating from their emotions and their minds, and they're all unreal and nothing lasts. We want something that lasts inside the body. And what is it? Its name is pure sensation, which we've discussed is in the hands and then becomes the whole body when you can do it. But from time to time, the brain will remember. The brain will remember the body, and even though the body has virtually disappeared, you can suddenly become aware of your leg. Now, you've got to be careful. You mustn't get distracted by that because it'll make you think. Any remembering will make you think. So you must come back to the pure sensation, and then that member will disappear. You must stop remembering. The whole thing is, the human race has remembered everything. Einstein's theory, 2 and 2 plus 4, everybody's remembered everything and therefore forgotten what's important. Because you've remembered everything that's in your memory, you have forgotten what's important. And our children are being taught to remember everything, remember this, remember that, and so they forget what's important. History of the human race. We're endeavouring to not forget anymore, to dismantle this terrible, intricate, complicated subtext that we've invented that's stopping us from seeing the truth that we've forgotten. So there, the first box inside the body that is real is the pure sensation. And now we've got the pure intelligence which does not move like the mind and does not interpret or have any conversations, and it focuses on the pure intelligence. Now you can do it now with your eyes open, please. You get the pure intelligence. It is best to close the eyes because the eyes will start to remember, help the mind to remember the hands or something, but it is best if you can, well, try and do it with the eyes open. There is a sensation right around your body. Don't differentiate it into something, one part of it is finer than the other. Try not to do that. That's a truth. It is a truth of self-discovery that some parts of it is finer than the other. But what we're endeavouring to do is to bring the whole lot together where there is no differentiation. And that is the source of the body. The body comes out of that. And the more that my intelligence, my pure intelligence, can focus on this sensation, the sensation actually disappears. The intelligence disappears. And I am in the state of being. Now, the state of being is complete unknowing. I cannot know that I am in the state of being. So how do I know I'm in the state of being? You cannot know it. So how do I register it? You cannot register it because it's nothing. Well, stop asking stupid questions and just do it. Because you can only be it, you see. It's beyond the mind, it's beyond questions, it's beyond any description, the state of being. And that's the next box inside the pure sensation. And there is no limit, no end to the state of being. It goes down through the pure psyche, through everything, right onto eternity and down to anything that you like, whatever you like to call it. And that's how deep and profound each one of us is. So I suggest that you practice this when you are not with me, that you practice it as often as possible. Because the more you practice it and do it, the more you will be it. And the more you are it, the more intimations of reality you will have. Without knowing anything, you will have intimations of reality. And you will have what I call knowledge without knowing. And that is pure knowledge. Knowing is not pure knowledge. Now you've got to get the idea. You mustn't try to remember what I've said. You've got to get the idea while we're doing it. Otherwise it's just a concept and you've got to remember, and you'll be saying to yourself, what did he say, what did he say? Because you haven't got the idea. Do you get the idea? The body is the beginning. Pure sensation is what the body comes out of. It's there in your hands, in your body and everywhere. Your pure intelligence does not move, so it is quite capable, like a great light of consciousness, to dissolve the pure sensation, and then suddenly there is nothing. And to be as nothing is the rarest thing on earth, because everyone who goes into that state, if they haven't got rid of their self enough, the self gets terrified or it just runs away from it and starts to think or interpret or say, I'm frightened. But many, many people get to that state, accidentally or anyway, it doesn't matter. But unfortunately, where there is self, there is self-judgment. And so there'll be judgment of that which is nothing. Righto, so we've dealt with that. Get the idea of it, please. Don't rely on your memory or concepts. Now, I have here a card that someone sent me. A beautiful little card. It's beautiful to me. It has on it a lovely young lady, and she's in a sort of a gloom, and she's bending over and looking down, and around her are a number of little lights and little figures, which could be what we would call fairies or something else, all around her. Now that's a very famous card. And there are many other famous cards. I'm not talking about modern art, I'm talking about older art. Famous cards of things like fairies and, done in a real way. Why do we buy cards like that when we all know that there's no such thing as fairies? Why do some of us still find that there's a beauty in it? Why? I mean, if you're scientific, you know it's all bullshit, don't you? If you've got a real sharp, rational mind, you know it's all rubbish. Yeah, well, I would expect you to say that. But to me, it's not rubbish, you see. It's an aspect of the other. But let's examine it. Why do we enjoy things like that obviously have no reality here whatever? As a matter of fact, show some sort of a demented mind. Why do we have cards like that, and why do we buy them? And why do children, especially children, love to play with little figures of animals? Teddy bears? Dolls? Why do they love to talk to them? Why do they talk back to themselves from the dolls and the teddy bears? Why do they put them into bed? And why do they love them and hold them? And why so frequently do some children talk to something in the room around them? And the very sensible parents say, now stop it, you're only imagining it, some very rational parent would destroy the child's perception. For that's what adults are for, to destroy every bit of innocence that ever was born with their rational scientific minds. But not all. And yet some can foster it, encourage it in a wrong way, and therefore make it and turn it into imagination and someone who's always looking for dreamland in the midst of this very, very nuts and bolts existence. So there's a fine balance there. But the question is, why do so many of us enjoy these mythic pictures, such as the myths of Dawn, who's that guy in that picture over the nymphs, in the pool? Hyla. Yeah. Now, he's over a pool, you see. And he's looking in, and up comes the spirit of the water, the spirit of the pool, the spirit of this wonderful pool in this glade. And up they come, and the spirit happens to be 7 or 8 beautiful maidens. And they're smiling at him, and he's reaching down like this into the pool to them. A most beautiful picture. A wonderful thing. Because it's true. It's real. Because the water has the spirit in it. And the spirit in it, for man, is these beautiful maidens that come up. They don't really come up, but that's the other. That's the other, you see. That's the other. That's this wonderful world which the children have just come out of. We left it a long time ago, and our perception of it is buried mostly under our heavy, heavy burden of our life and our partnerships and God knows what. Buried under that. But when the little child is born, often they're still in touch with the other. And they can talk to the other because they've come out of the womb of life. Are you hearing me? For Christ's sake, are you hearing me? A child that's just been born has come out of, we would say, the womb of the mother, but it is the womb of life. And in the womb of life, everything is there. Everything is possible, but it's all pure energetic. It's beautiful. Whatever it is, it's just magnificence, completeness. And so the child comes from that place. And it brings with it some knowledge of that. And so it wants animals that talk, cartoons or anything. It wants funny little puppets and things which resemble something of the little ones in the other, although they're not little ones at all. It's all energetic. And then the teenager, the girl comes in. She comes in, and what does she want? Well, as you know, I say that woman is 100% love. And she comes into existence as a child. And then when the sexual energies start to rise in her, what does she want to do? She's a virgin. And she says, I just want to be loved. Oh, I can do my studies, and I can do that, and I can go to university, and I can drive a car, or I can do all those things. But really, what I'm waiting for is for a man to truly love me, to take me in his arms, to put them around me and embrace me, to tell me he loves me, and for me to feel the warmth of his body and the beauty of his kisses, so that I will have what I left. And then the rude awakening, when the sexual boy, when the awkward sexual experimental boy gets hold of her and uses her, and she wonders what the hell has happened. and she's scarred for life. Or the sexual man gets hold of her and she's scarred for life again, because it's never like it was, like she knew love to be. Because love, such love, is so rare here. And that's why every woman, every single woman, waits, because she's 100% love, waits to be loved like she was loved from where she came, from whence she came. Andrew Cohen calls me a romantic. Oh no, you know, he's a good man. I'm not criticising, but he calls me a romantic, you see, which he says is unusual or surprising for an enlightened man. I don't know whether he calls me enlightened, but something like that. But you see, I am romantic because I know the other. I know the wonder of life. I know the wonder of love. I know the wonder of truth. I know the wonder of the little things that come into existence as children, who come out of the womb of life and carry with it a knowledge of the wonder of this place, from whence we all came. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't forgotten, you see. By God's grace, I have not forgotten the other, whence I come, and whence man and woman come. I have not forgotten it, although I don't remember it, but I have not forgotten it. And so I am a real romantic. And so you see on a number of my tapes, love brings all to life, and you see the artist with his hands around his own image of a statue of a woman that he's making. And of course the myth says that eventually he loves it so much, night and day he works on it, that he puts his arm around it and her face moves and she kisses him. All rubbish. If you're a scientist, we all know that's rubbish. Oh, I don't. I know that every woman I have ever loved is a statue that needs to be brought to life, and I have done my best to do it. I know that. And I know that because of the great elapsement of time, since time began here, that there is a great amount of marble in every woman, of metal and obstinacy and resistance to love. Even though she loves love, she is resistant to it because of her individuality. I know that. But I do my best. That's all I can do. But I love. And that's God's love that loves through me. And God does whatever God does. And God is only good. There's no negativity whatever in God. Only the good. Only the right, only the true, only the beautiful. That is what the other is, that I know. So woman waits to be loved. Just like the teenager I described, she waits to be loved. Who's going to love her? There's only one thing here to love her, that she waits for, and that is man. Is he going to love her, or is he going to use her and sex her up? Well, she's had enough of that, hasn't she? Thousands of years of it. And still they're doing the same thing to her, except those are endeavouring to love her. And when you love her, you bring the statue to life. But it's no good having discussions. And it's no good arguments. No argument is any good between lovers. Only I love you. So I'm a romantic. Thank God. Thank God. Wouldn't it be a dreadful, dreadful world, worse than what it is? And you'd think that's impossible. If the scientific world were correct, if the scientist's knowledge or idea of the world was correct, how would you like that? You'd have to speak a squared plus b squared plus 2ab plus equals 768 minus or plus a couple of... And, I mean, that's the language of science. And I don't think there is any symbol for love in it, nor truth. There, of course, there's not, because scientists are too intelligent to ever think about love or truth. And imagine if you had to be stuck all day with talking about black holes, which don't exist, of course, except in the scientist's mind. So we've got lots of black holes, and we've got a continuously expanding universe. I don't know anything about an expanding universe. I keep looking at the stars, and they're always in the same place, except when they move with the seasons. I don't know about an expanding universe. I do know what's expanding, of course, because I know everything. I know that the scientific mind is expanded. I know that that's going on and on forever, filling up with complications, going on television and misleading all the children about what the universe is, and expanding with knowing and knowing and knowing, for God's sake, and complicating and finding mesons and some other sons and H thing and D thing and C thing, and then they run out of the alphabet, so they go Z, Y, X and W, V, U, T, S and R, Q, P, O, N, L, and L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, P, A. So they go right back the other way, you know, with all their names for things. And then they run back the other way, ABC, right? You've got lots and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, and you've got all that. And now that's the world of the scientist. And then they've got this Big Bang thing, and how the whole lot of it came out of there and is still rolling on and rolling on. Imagine the opinions they can give. Imagine the millions of dollars in all the universities with all those professors talking about black holes and time travel and God knows what, all this imaginative nonsense, and universities filled with it all, and professors who know no knowledge, or professing to know. And but nobody ever mentions in science, you see, the Big Bang came out of something. Oh, they admit that. But instead of studying what came out of the other, why don't they study the other? Because they're too stupid. All scientists are stupid because they go for the objectification of knowledge rather than the reality of knowledge, which is where the Big Bang came out of, where the black hole comes out of. What about that it came out of? Well, of course, because they're stupid in the sense of pure intelligence, they can't do it. They have no self-knowledge whatever. None whatever. They're so immersed in their other world of bullshit, speculation, and untruth. Because nothing that science says about the universe is real or true. Even the speed of light that they talk about is not real or true. Because it all disappears when the scientist dies. Okay, so I'm a romantic, you see. I'd rather the romantic side of it. What about you? Huh? Oh, is there anything more beautiful than to kiss a woman on the forehead? To touch her cheeks? Is there anything more beautiful than to kiss her hair? Than to bury your nose between her shoulder and her neck? And to breathe into the lungs her essence, which does the lungs a great deal of good. Is there anything more beautiful, Mr. Scientist? What? What do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean? I mean what I say. Did you think that if the scientists hadn't invented whatever they've invented, that it wouldn't be invented? You could kill every scientist on Earth, and it would still roll on doing the same thing. Someone would roam up and mate a bear with a rabbit or something else, and clone women and men. Someone will come up and do it. You don't have to worry. You can kill a whole lot of them. Because it's a movement, you see. It's a movement, an unstoppable movement called progress. Now, from what we've seen today, wherever there's movement, there is no intelligence, no pure intelligence. So now you know why the world is in such a mess. Because there's no pure intelligence here, it's all movement. Progress is movement. And that's why everybody dies. Because it can't sustain itself. So it's got to reproduce some new things to get excited about this existence and believe in science and religion and all the rest of it, instead of just pure self-knowledge, which is the key to the exit before you die. The key to harmonizing your life. Okay then, so I trust you could you get now your pure sensation immediately now? You know, you're there. There it is. I didn't ask you to go into being, I asked you to just get the pure sensation. There it is. Don't worry about the mind creating the idea that there's your body, your legs or your arms. Don't worry about that. Just ignore it. It's all right. The thing is for you to focus on the pure sensation. And if you can't get it all together, it doesn't matter. Do it. You've got it more together than you can think of. Just do it. Just do it. Now, you can't think while you're focusing your pure intelligence on sensation. You'll only think if you start to become unintelligent, restless, movement. So that's the practice. And what is the purpose of all this? What is the purpose of being with me? The purpose is to harmonize your existential life so that you have no problems in your entire life. That is your right. For as within, so without. And the reason that the world is in such a dreadful mess for so many people is that they are still moving inside so much, so subconsciously, that they create for themselves a disharmony outside. And the remedy for that is to become stiller and stiller inside. And you are doing that. And don't believe your mind which says, oh, I've only got a bit of the sensation. Don't believe that. It's not. A little bit can be the whole. Just like a drop of water is the same as the whole bucket full. So don't believe your mind. You just get the pure sensation there, wherever you've got it in your back, or wherever it is. You have more than you think you have. And it takes increasing intelligence to be able to hold that against the clamour for movement of the mind and emotions. Now, I either know what I'm talking about or I don't. And if you're still here after 2.5 days, and I don't know what you don't think I know what I'm talking about, then you're a fool, aren't you? So it must be right, because you can demonstrate it in your own experiences. And that's what I love. You to realize the truth in your own experience. So when you are out there, please remember this. You cannot do this and get onto pure sensation when you are worried and unhappy about some event or person. In other words, when you are emotional. You cannot do it. It's no good settling down and saying, I'm going to do what he said now. I'm feeling so emotional and so unhappy that you're going to do it then. That's the quick fix, Western way of thinking, mechanical way. You can't do it like that. You're already disturbed. You can't be still enough to do it. But when you have to do it is when everything's hunky-dory, when everything's going fine. That's when we're less likely to do it, when everything's going fine. But that's when you've got to do it. You've got to give up yourself, your time to do it when everything's okay and you don't have any disturbance. Then you'll be able to do it more and more. But if you neglect doing it, you will sort of lose it. It won't be as easy next time when you come back to it. The more you do it, the more easy it becomes, because it becomes more and more a part of you, the being of you. So don't think you can do it when things are crook. That in Australian means bad. You got that message, please? Thank you. Okay then. Well, I'm going to close now. Thank you for being with me. Being with me means being intelligent, listening in your own experience, testing everything I say and what I try to demonstrate in your own experience, and doing what I say because you know it is the truth. Or if there's any other truth, tell me it. How do I get into my body? Well, a God or life tries to arrange that for everybody by killing the person that you love most. Oh my God, how can there be a God when such things are? Well, it's only God trying to wake you up. You wouldn't have any problem if you were woken up already. But you're not awake, so this is a special flavour for you. To kill the one you love so that you'll come to your senses for a little while and perhaps see the truth of what death is supposed to be, the integrity of it. Now, who ever looked at it like that? Phew. Well, it's a good way to look at it, isn't it? Because when you are intelligent, truly intelligent, you will not suffer when the one that you love dies. But of course, most of the human race is not intelligent, so not the way we're talking about it. So death is mourned instead of seen for what it is, self-knowledge. All right, then I'll close now. And tomorrow, as Kate has told you, I think, and I'll repeat, we're going to start at 11 to give you an extra hour so that you can sit down before you come here and do some focusing on pure intelligence, on pure sensation with pure intelligence. How about that? How about giving a little bit of time before you come here to that? And if you argue with your partner or have any discussions, your chances of being able to do it are not good. You know, have some love in you. Give some gratitude for your wonderful life that allowed you to come here. You were allowed to come here. You did everything that you had to do, but indeed, you came here, and that's something wonderful, that you could get away and come here. And be grateful for your life as much as possible. And gratitude, of course, is to the other. You can't be really grateful to anyone, although that is right, to be grateful to someone who does something for you, but really that person is just God in existence, and if they have done something to help you, it is really God in that form doing something for you. So all gratitude really goes to the other. And we don't know where the other is, and it doesn't matter where the other is, because the only important thing is to love the other, which is unnameable. And that's the secret of loving God or loving it that you came here for. For it. That's what you came for, it. If you don't like to call it God, then you can call it it. You love it. That's why you came. So be grateful to it, which doesn't have any person, doesn't have any attributes, except it is beautiful, it is sweet, it is right, it is true. And all I can do is love it and be grateful to it for whatever. Thank you all.